of the Illuminati. Let's see, this is just a little clip on the Tavistock Institute. Let's see what this sounds like. This information is extracted from the Conspirators' Hierarchy, the story of the Committee of 300 by John Coleman. And their goals: to establish a one world government, new world order with a unified church and monetary system under their direction. One world government of the banksters, by the banksters, and for the banksters. The one world government began to set up in church in 1920s and the 30s. They realized the need for a religious belief inherent in mankind must have an outlet. Therefore, set up a church body to channel that belief in the direction they desired. And our dream of human consciousness. Keep in mind, our founding fathers fought the New World Order of their day, British Empire. Sun never sets on the British Empire. And what I've just told you, the Bible tells you, which, as my guest yesterday referred to, as a handbook for civilization. And what they're doing here is trying to bring about the utter destruction of all national identity and national pride, which was a primary consideration if the concept of a one world government was to work. I've said that Barack Obama is like the perfect New World Order leader. He's black, he's white, he's Catholic, he's Jewish, he's Muslim, Catholic, whatever they were, wherever they hide under. And one part of this is to engineer and bring about the destruction of religion, more especially the Christian religion, with one exception, and that'd be their own creation, and that might be the Catholic Church. Did they set up a church body to channel the belief in the direction they desired? This is the same people that may be worshiping the devil and praying to the idol, just like they told you not to, that they used, and the idol that they chose was to elevate their instrument of torture that they used to kill your Savior. Now, they also plan to establish the ability to control each and every person through means of mind control and what Brzezinski called technotronics, which would create human-like robots in a system of terror, which would make the Red Terror look like child's play. Now, mind control, you think you read about it, you read Cathy O'Brien's Transformation of America, and you think you understand mind control? You don't, because you are being programmed. Now, talk about programming. They don't call television programming for nothing. Folks, what I am proposing here is that we use the computer to communicate with and really work in our own neighborhood. Let's not try to reach out across the land. Let's set an example wherever we live, wherever we are. Let's set an example by making people work together, giving them ways. We've got the ways. Now, with the Ithaca hours and the mountain money concept, we could even invest, pay somebody in hours to build solar panels, sell it to your neighbors, and start changing our lives right here where we live. what better place to do it? And the Ithaca hours and the mountain money and the mile-high currency. It's actually prettier than for the Federal Reserve notes. I've got some pictures up on my website, freeamerican.com. But the television is programming you against that. They want you to drive fast cars. They want to show you the violence. They want to. That is a programming. And what they're trying to do is to bring about the end of all industrialization and the production of nuclear-generated electric power in what they call the post-industrial zero-growth society. That'd be what they're doing right now. They're whatever they call it, the UN Sustainable Development bull that they're trying to pass in our towns, in our cities, in our counties. We've got to counter that in the counters. You can only do that with information. They have, and this is what we talked about with NAFTA and GATT, the U.S. industries will be exported to countries such as Mexico, where abundant slave labor is available, or they're going to make our prisons into slave labor camps, and I'll talk about that in a little bit too. As we saw in 1993, this has become a fact through the passage of the North American Free Trade Agreement, that's known as NAFTA. You got unemployables in the U.S. in the wake of industrial destruction will either become opium, heroin, or cocaine addicts and become statistics in the elimination of excess population process we know of today is our Global 2000 report. This came from John Coleman over 10 years ago. Our knowledge has been around here forever, but nobody's been able to come up with a way to do this. What I'm doing is telling you that you've got the ability, we've got the knowledge, we've got the plans for a Stirling engine, we've got the patents for Vanderfoot or whatever his name was. We got the patents. You can look at it, you can build it. I can't, but I can certainly tell you about people that can. I can tell you about Paul Pantone, who could and did. Now, they are using the drugs in control to bring about depopulation of large cities occurs into the trial run carried out by the Pol Pot regime in Cambodia. And it might be interesting to note that Pol Pot's genocidal plans were drawn up in the U.S. by one of the Club of Rome's research foundations and overseen by Thomas Enders, a high-ranking State Department official. Now, they also want to suppress all scientific development except for those deemed beneficial to the Illuminati, to the industrialists, to the Morgans, to the Rothschilds. And of course they're targeting the nuclear energy in Iran, but we've got more plants here. We don't need the power plants. That makes use of all their wires. First hurricane comes down, you lose electricity, and they put a lot of people to work going out and building the wires. The ability, we have the ability here, and I believe if we've got the financing together, we've got our food supply under our control, that we've got enough highly intelligent people out there to bring these devices to light, put it in the co-op. So if you're a member of the co-op, you got access to it. You can buy it, you can build it. And whether that's solar, wind, or a magnetic generator that can sit on under your desk and power your whole house, that's possible. But they go after them. They go after them. They went after Paul Pantone. They went after the guy that ran his car on water, made it public. They went after all this. They killed them. That's what they do. That's how they control. They kill the brightest and the best. That's why they set up the draft. That's why they got the volunteers. That's how you want to get ahead. You want to apply for OCS. They wouldn't put me in OCS. They wanted me on the ground in Vietnam. And the way we do this, diversification. Take some of the plays out of their book. It takes a village. It takes a village. Yeah, maybe it does. Let's make that village. Let's make this neighborhood our village. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? I think we can. I think we got the ability. And we've got the desire now. The people are wanting to get off of this one-way train, this all-black train that's running you down to the FEMA camp. They use the drugs against you if you use the drugs well and rightly. If you can, that's one of the parts we've got to talk about here. They've tried to program you to think that the drugs are all bad and the drug dealers are, but the drug dealers are sitting on top laughing at your ass. I said I've done every kind of drug, and I stopped doing cocaine when I realized the CIA was making all the money off of it. They don't want you to have pot because that plant, right alone, if you grow that plant in your backyard, you could eat off of that. You would restore your health. You could smoke it. You could restore your sanity. You could get your mother off the Valium or the Prozac. And if you bring in all the drugs and something, you contribute to the police state. Now, that's what we need to talk about. Okay, we've just had Ithaca hours on. We got the money situation solved. We can buy this money. Probably, I think it's 80 cents on a dollar. Pay 80 cents to get another Ithaca hour. And we're going to set this up. If you've got a business or provide a service out there, there are three main reasons to join the Hours Network, the co-op network here. First of all, it's good for your business. Being listed in the print version of the Hours directory and the Hours website provides additional customers who have hours to spend or looking for businesses to take them. Supports the local economy. Unlike dollars, hours keeps the money in the community to build our economy, and it pays for itself immediately. You pay $10 for a single list in the directory, we give you 2 hours, immediately give you 2 hours, worth $20. And the main concept of business often has when considering hours, what will I do with the hours I get from customers or clients? The first thing to note is that you decide what rate hours you will accept for purchases or services. Some member businesses accept 100% hours, but many limit the hours they will accept. You should calculate a rate for hours that are proportional to your ability to put them back in the economy. Then, thinking about this, you may be surprised to learn that in fact there are many outlets for the use of hours. And you can find that you can write for help at info@ithacahours.org. And even if you don't sell any goods or services, there are still reasons to join Ithaca Hours. Ithaca Hours is a local currency. Now, I don't think it'll be free American currency. I'm not going to get involved with that, but it'll either be Ithaca Hours, depending on what neighborhood you're in, or it'll be a Mountain Hours, and that gentleman will be on my show on Monday. The Revolution Radio will be putting together and handling the list, the chat, just like they're handling this radio show. They will be keeping your names and your emails, and when I put out something, when the co-op puts out something, when we find new information, yeah, okay, here's a book that tells you how to build a magnetic generator. They want $50 for it. Here it is. $50 or 50 hours, whatever you got, however that works. You buy the book, you figure it out, you build it. If you build it, We'll come. We'll sell it for you. We need to restore our productivity, and we can't do it by being afraid of the neighborhood association. We can't do it by being afraid of the government. And if we organize as a neighborhood, as a block, as a farm, with a lot of other farms out there trying to do the same thing. If you got a farm out there, you got to grow the food organic, and you can't use Roundup on it. We've got information on that. There'll probably be courses in Timothy Bible College on how to farm back with nature, how to bring it back in to the state of nature, to bring it back where it was. This is the way we move forward. We move forward like this. Now, let me see here. Okay, they've got account software, professional accounting software for businesses. They've got everything here. This is on ithacahours.org. And we'll do the same thing. This is just for that local community, I believe, but we intend to do this all the way around, Now, keep in mind, folks, I do have something that I do, that I've been doing for a lot of years. I write books. And I got books for sale. Yeah, I want you to buy my book. Yeah, I want you to read a book. I want your input on it. This is the way I make a living. I do the show because you need to understand. You need to know what's going on. You need to understand everything. And the wars are bigger wars. This Ithaca Hours, this Mountain Money, this Mile High Currency, whatever the thing is in California, we'll point you in the direction. We'll point you in that direction after we check all these things out. And I want you, let me find this. Somewhere here. I must have lost it here. Alright. I'm talking about the police state. One of the things that we have to do is change this whole police state mentality. It may be legalizing drugs. It may be legalizing hemp in this country. It may be all of that. But they've got all of the prison systems are private now, and they're trading you on the stock market. They're selling stock in prison systems. Oh, they make money if you're in jail because they're renting you out for 25 cents an hour to IBM and some major corporations. We have to stop that. Remember, Ayn Rand told you that the government has no control over honest citizens. They've got to keep us, they've got to make us into criminals. And that's what they've done. That's what they have done. Let's see. Okay, let me go here. Now, they also have microwave mind control, and they're using this to introduce new cults and continuing to boost those already functioning. with a lot of your rock music gangsters. I'm not sure I agree with all that. But they will continue to build up the cult of Christian fundamentalism begun by the British East India Company servant Darby, which will be misused to strengthen the Zionist state of Israel by identifying with the Jews through the myth of God's chosen people and by donating very substantial amounts of money to what they mistakenly believe is a religious cause for the furtherance of Christianity. In other words, most of your Christian preachers out there telling you not to do what they've done before, or they get caught doing what they tell you what not to do. These are the Christians are as bad as the Jews, are as bad as the whole Muslim crowd. These people have been programmed by religion. We have to break that control. We have to break that. Let's see. And of course, the secrets of the Federal Reserve to take control of all foreign and domestic policy. Any idea that's out there depends on the Federal Reserve notes, not this one. We can loan somebody the money to put a solar unit on their house and start making immediate money off of it. All they got to do is build it. All they got to do is put it together. We can finance it this way. Just a matter of working together, not sniping at each other, not doing something to. It's just incredible here that, and it's almost too late to do it. Let's see what we got here. Let me see. I got a couple of things here. This is a film by Chris Pratt. Now, if you can't hear this...
Hi, my name is Chris Pratt, and my journey of discovery began totally by accident while I was preparing for a presentation on brain injury. You see, 11 years ago, I acquired a brain injury due to surgery, and although my war zone was the operating room, I've had direct experience coping with and attempting to manage some serious challenges. So if I slur a word occasionally, I hope you'll understand. While coping with these challenges, I have become an expert student of neuroplasticity and the enormous power that awareness, choice, and consequence can have on a damaged brain, or as one faces age-related cognitive decline.
Now, this, one of the reasons I was taken with this is because I went through a brain injury 10 years ago, supposedly, and as I've told you, they tried to kill me over that. So, this is up at the top of near my page, right between Mystery Babylon and the magazine that I put out in 2004 they tried to kill me over. Building number 7 on the cover of the Free American. Why did it fall?
In my mind, awareness, choice, and consequence rules every aspect of our lives. Everything that happens to us is a consequence of a choice we have made. Everything. We may not even be aware that we have chosen anything at all. However, a consequence still occurs. Whether we get diabetes from continually supersizing at McDonald's, hug a friend, or live in fear, everything has a consequence. It's a simple law of the universe. Cause and effect, action, reaction. But how can I make a good choice if I'm unaware that there's a choice at all, or what the consequence of that choice might be? That is a great question, because you cannot. The universe makes no accommodation for lack of awareness and ignorance. A choice will always have a consequence, whether it is an informed one or not. So never, never forget that doing nothing is also a choice, and that it will have a consequence.
Well, doing nothing is a choice. Time and time again, I get people saying, I just want to stay below the radar. I just don't want to call attention to myself. You know, just send me the food stamps. Come on, let's just turn on the TV. I don't want to hear this stuff. It depresses me. Well, I try to give you information so you can make a choice, so you aren't programmed, so you can think that, hey man, smoking this, if we're growing this weed out here nationally, we'll increase our daily input or productivity by a few $billion. Go ahead. Alright. Go ahead.
Now, I want to share a story with you, and this is actually an article that I wrote over the weekend called All Wars Are Bankers' Wars. And I went in, I did a lot of research, it's posted to the front page of whatreallyhappened.com. I understand it's already gone viral, it's being reposted around the web. But I wanted to basically tell it to you here on the radio show. And it's a very long story, we're probably going to take the rest of the hour to do it. But it's something that you need to understand, that all of these wars and assassinations that we're told are crazed-loan assassins, or weapons of mass destruction, or bringing democracy, all of them track back to the private central bankers as the initiating event. And the more you study this, the more you will realize all the wars
All the war, matter of fact, this is what Benjamin Friedman
for the bankers, for the private central bankers. And I know a lot of people are going to have difficulty comprehending this. Just how many of these wars we have fought as a nation were fought for no other purpose than to force private central banks onto nations that did not want them. So we're going to have a few examples so you understand why at this...
Now, by the way, I just switched films because I thought this might be a little bit more relevant to you. Since we've been talking about money today, and I've quoted Thomas Jefferson, the banks and the corporations spring up around them will leave your children homeless in the land we conquered. And all of these wars, and by the way, the person that's telling you this is Jewish, named Michael Rivero. And Aaron Russo was Jewish. He told you, this is not about anti-Semitism. This is about using an organization like the Zionists, like the Masons, like the Catholic Church, to oppress you. I mean, it's that Christian Pauline Christianity that Jerry Falwell or Hagee wants to sell you on, get their money sent to Israel so they can persecute the Palestinians. We're the Palestinians in America today. We, Americans, white Americans, are the Palestinians. They want to take everything you've got. All of these laws, the IRS and everything, is to take everything that you got. And all of that money, you make a check out to the IRS, it comes back stamped, paid to the order of the Federal Reserve. This is why we got to take back our money from these people. And I'm just giving you the way to do it today. Now, to make it work, it's going to take a lot more work.
Particular time in history, the United States government is mired in so many wars against so many foreign nations, and there's plenty of precedents for this. Now, going back to the beginning, the United States fought the American Revolution primarily over King George III's Currency Act, which forced the colonists to abandon their own government-issued currencies and conduct business only using printed banknotes borrowed at interest from the Bank of England. If you go back to the writings of Ben Franklin, direct quote, the refusal of King George III to allow the colonies to operate an honest money system, which freed the ordinary man from the clutches of the money manipulators, was probably the prime cause of the revolution. It's Ben Franklin. Now, our public schools don't teach that because you're not supposed to know that the bankers were really behind the American Revolution. After the Revolution, the United States adopted a revolutionary, radically different economic system in which the government issued its own value-based currency so that private banks couldn't skim the wealth of the people through interest-bearing banking. So the American Revolution was fought primarily to free the American people from King George III's Currency Act, which ordered them to conduct all business using printed banknotes borrowed at interest from the Bank of England. So the Bank of England was just, raking in wealth from the labor of the American people in exchange for labor. And that fueled the anger that led to the American Revolution. The public schools don't spend a lot of time on that, but that was really what it was all about. So the revolution was over, the United States was born. But the private bankers are nothing if not dedicated to their schemes to acquire other people's wealth, and they knew full well how easy it is to corrupt the nation's leaders. Now, just 1 year after Mayor Amschel Rothschild had uttered his infamous, "Let me issue and control the nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws," private bankers succeeded in setting up a new private sector.
And I might tell you, folks, that the whole history of the Rothschilds is there in my book, Mystery Babylon. So is my history, so is my fight against this New World Order for the last 20 years. And I paid it pretty heavily. But I don't come on here to scare you. I don't come on here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that actually you are a lot better than you think you are. You have the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, and somebody came up and said there was an accident down the way, about a block down, half-mile down. So I ran down there, and there was a car rolled over on the side of the road. There was a crowd of people standing around. I walked up through the crowd, looked in the car, and there's a woman hanging upside down in the car. Her arm is pinned under the car. I said, hey guys, come on, we gotta get her. You, kid, slide in there, unbuckle her out of that seatbelt. Slide in there, crawl in that car and unbuckle that seatbelt. You guys help lay her down. Here, put her down on my jacket. Put her down on my jacket. Get her down. Get her down. And some woman jumps up, says, no, don't touch her now. Don't touch her. We've called an ambulance. The ambulance is on the way. I said, your ambulance is 40 minutes away from here. Get in there. I'm a social worker, and I know. I've already called the 911. I've already called the ambulance is on the way. Lady, get away from me. You, get in there. You guys come over here and help me lift this vehicle. Help me lift this vehicle, or I'll do it by myself. Come on. And I got them in there. I got her unbuckled. I slid her out. They lifted the car off of her. I pulled her out on the jacket. And we waited for the ambulance, which showed up about 30 minutes later. About a week after that, some beautiful lady walks in my shop, and she said, hey, I just wanted you to know, I'm the woman you pulled out of that car. When I got to the doctors told me if you hadn't done that, I would have lost my arm. Thank you. The whole plan that I've got in my true face of FEMA, filmed after the Homeland Security was rolled into FEMA, is about providing 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized troops to control the American people because some of them just won't follow orders. Oh yeah? When 9/11 happened, there wasn't anybody looting, there wasn't any need for troops. The firefighters that gave their lives to try to save people in those buildings that were rigged by the Zionists, by the Israelis, by the Rothschild, by the bankers, because they were a liability. And in my story that I published with Why Did It Fall on the cover, the story that I published spelled it out. Those buildings were condemned. Too much asbestos in there, and they couldn't build scaffolding that high, so they recommended that they bring the buildings down. Those buildings were brought down straight, didn't damage any other property. They were brought down except by the, and their only one screw up was no plane hit building number 7, so they couldn't tell you it was like a candle. This is why this has been
ruin the nation's economy while enriching the bank's owners. As a result, Congress refused to renew the charter and signaled their intention to go back to a state-issued, value-based currency on which the people paid no teach those impudent Americans a lesson. Bring them back to colonial status, end quote. Financed by the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England, Britain then launched the War of 1812 to recolonize the United States and force them back into the slavery of the Bank of England's banknotes. Or to plunge the United States into so much debt they would be forced to accept a new private central bank. And the plan worked. Even though the United States won the War of 1812, Congress was forced to grant a new charter for yet another private bank, issuing the public currency as loans and interest, the second bank of the United States. Once again, private bankers were in control of the nation's money supply and cared not who made the laws or how many British or American soldiers had to die for it. So once again, the nation was plunged into debt, unemployment, poverty by the predations of the private central bank, and in 1832, Andrew Jackson successfully campaigned for his second term as president under the slogan, Jackson and no bank. True to his word, Jackson succeeded in blocking the renewal of the charter for the Second Bank of the United States of America. And this was where that famous quote came from Andrew Jackson. Quote, "Gentlemen, I too have been a close observer of the doings of the Bank of the United States. I have had men watching you for a long time, and I am convinced that you've used the funds of the banks to speculate in the breadstuffs of the country. When you won, you divided the profits amongst you, and when you lost, you charged it to the bank. You tell me that if I take the deposits from the bank and annul the charter, I shall ruin 10,000 families. That may be true, gentlemen, but that is your sin. Should I let you go on, you will ruin 50,000 families, and that would be my sin. You are a den of vipers and thieves. I've determined to rout you out, and by the eternal God, I will rout you out." End quote. Andrew Jackson. Shortly after the charter for the Second Bank of the United States expired, there was an assassination attempt on Andrew Jackson, and it failed when both pistols used by the assassin, Richard Lawrence, failed to fire. Later on, Lawrence explained the motive for the assassination by saying that with President Jackson dead, money would be more plenty. So it was an assassination motivated by the interests of the bankers. Now, our public school system is as subservient to the bankers' wishes to keep certain history from you, just as the corporate media is subservient to Monsanto's wishes to keep the dangers of GMOs from you, and the global warming cult's wishes to conceal from you the fact that Earth has actually been cooling for the last 16 years. So it should probably be no surprise that the financial dimension of the Civil War are not well known to the average American. It's portrayed in our history books and our popular media as an internal dispute over slavery, but in fact it was a war with global implications. When the Confederacy seceded from the United States, the bankers once again saw the opportunity for a rich harvest of debt and offered to fund Lincoln's efforts to bring the South back into the Union at 30% interest. Lincoln remarked that he would not free the black man by enslaving the white man to the bankers, and using his authority as president, issued a new government currency, the greenback. This was a direct threat to the wealth and power of the central bankers, who quickly responded. This is a quote from the London Times following Lincoln's issuance of the greenbacks. Quote, "If this mischievous financial policy, which has its origin in North America, shall become indurated down to a fixture, then that government will furnish its own money without cost. Bank similar to the system the United States had been founded on. Now, free of European intervention, the Union won the war, and Lincoln announced his intention to go on issuing the greenbacks. Following Lincoln's the express purpose of forming the third bank of the United States, with the aim of placing complete control of the United States money supply once again under the control of private bankers. Owing to hostility over the previous banks of the United States, the name of this third Freedom of Information Act did not apply to the operators of the Federal Reserve. So 1913 proved to be a transformative year for the nation's economy. First, with Congress Sullivan versus United States, 2003. Later that same year, 1913, and apparently unwilling to risk another questionable amendment, Congress passed the Federal Reserve Act over the Christmas holiday 1913, while members of Congress opposed to the measure were at home. Wilson later regretted that decision. You've probably heard this quote before, but you're going to get it again. Quote, "I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country."
I'm telling you here I'm going to stop that. I don't know about the, let's see if we can change this. We lost it. Just lost it. Okay, hang on a second here.
Well, you got a bunch of stuff on your computer for bandwidth right now.
That might be, but I have just switched computers here, so maybe that's
Well, that always works when you do that, but you never seem to start off the show that way. But, you know, we got a good 15 or 10 more minutes, so maybe we'll have some good sound finally.
all right. I'm sorry that sound wasn't coming across here, but the thing is, again, I don't want to depress anybody, and I'm not. I've got books to sell. That's what I do. I sell books. I write books, and I got more that I'm writing. That will be pretty interesting, maybe even more interesting than my ones in the past, because what I started out as fiction is turned out to be not fiction at all, happening right now, happening in this country, in this day and age. And I'm really struck that all of the information that I've uncovered, everything that I found, including this Ithaca Hours guide that was on today, and the Mountain Money guide that'll be on Monday, these ideas are there. The people have done this. The people are growing in their backyard. The people have done the Oklahoma food. The farmers are working. So, because you don't see any of this on the mainstream, you don't see any of this in the press, and nobody's writing about the farmer that lives 10 miles out of town that's growing his food in an organic way. You don't know. You don't know. The only thing you know is the ads you see for Monsanto, the ads you see for the pills that they want to sell you. And all of the research I've brought up over the last 20 years says if you eat properly, if you get the minerals and vitamins that you need from the food that you eat, hard to do because all of the food that you're eating right now, is going to is being grown in polluted soil, in spent soil. We haven't restored it. And because that's what hemp did for you. It restored the land. It was a rotational crop. Reaches deep, pulls out the fulvic acid, pulls out the minerals, and puts it back into the soil. They took that away from you. I mean, I don't know how much more reporting I could do to tell you what's wrong here, folks. Because what's wrong here is they're telling you on TV, well, the NSA is tapping our phones. The NSA is doing this. The NSA is doing that. The IRS is doing this. The IRS is targeting you here. Okay, what part of that don't you understand? I told you that I have 2 rules for living because I ride a Harley. One of those that every phone I use is tapped, so I don't make appointments or get directions anymore by telephone. And it's happening to you too. We know that the spin is out here that Michael Hastings, writing that story for Rolling Stone, was killed when his car was taken over. Kind of an advanced OnStar, possibly. They say that's possible. They say, and something like that happened. He didn't drink. We have the ability to change it. We just have to start working together and pulling together, and I think we can do this with a co-op. Not me, not just me doing this anymore. Revolution Radio will be behind, the people that are behind Revolution Radio are going to be handling the websites, they're going to be handling the guest list. All I'm going to do is research it, find the people, and set it up so that all of this information is put onto it's put on the website. It's going to be put on libertyvillages.org. It's going to be put on Free American. It's going to be put on Revolution. We'll have links for that. And Liberty Villages Co-op.com. We're working on those now. A lot of people are working on it. And it's going to be it's already happening. Now all we have to do is spread that information. And this is kind of why I get on some of our hosts here. I'm just a messenger here. Don't attack the messenger. I don't care whether you like Harleys. I don't care whether you like bikers. I don't care whether you like my opinions. But the research I've given you is accurate. The people that I have on the show are trying to tell you the truth. Everybody's trying to help out, and everybody on this network should be working together and promoting this whole idea, because hey, if it works for me, it's going to work for you. If it's going to work here in Texas, it's going to work up in Michigan. We just have to put our differences aside and ask ourselves, is it good for me and my family? Is it good for my neighborhood? Is it good for my children? Is it good for my grandchildren? That's what we need to ask ourselves. I want you to think about that this weekend. My email is clay@freeamerican. You can buy my books at freeamerican.com, shop.freeamerican.com. And if you buy my books, you'll have a little bit more insight into what I've been through, why I get as adamant about things when a class of people try to destroy you, put your friends in prison, profit off of your misery there. Yes, I got yes, Nighthawk, I got the 365 move. Yes, sir, I did that. The only thing I need to talk to you about is the music. So, hey, have a great weekend, you guys. Clay at freeamerican.com. All the information, my phone numbers are at freeamerican.com. Send me an email. Tell me what you can do to contribute. Hey, Benny, don't get little fat butt. Don't do that.
You're gonna come back over here and book me, huh? Now, did I understand that guy correctly on that Gibson hours? When he said it was backed by real money or something, they had a,
No, it's backed by your productivity.
okay, so when he was talking about that 30,000, he was talking about infinite hours, $30,000 for infinite hours.
Yeah. We're going 365 live in January, so that'll give me a tremendously larger audience.
What does that mean?
Means I'll have a larger audience.
Well, I didn't mean that part. What was it, 365, whatever?
365 Live. It's broadcasting outlet.
Oh, okay.
Has a lot of shows on it.
That guy that runs this station must have had a lot of money to get it started up. So that couple that broadcast before you got fired.
They fired Rick last night. Didn't let him come back on this morning, I think.
Well, I was thinking the other day I don't know how she puts up with him. Because he just sounds he cuts our listeners like a little ass.
The Live 365 system provides a mean for the message of each show to be broadcast to a far larger listening audience than ever before.
I moved that so I could get up. I didn't move it so you could move up on my lap. You're such a crazy dog. You're such a crazy dog. Crazy dog. Oh, crazy dog. Crazy stupid dog. Yeah, he's a crazy dog. Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's not pretty like my schoolboy. No. He's a different kind of pretty. Yes, he is. He's pretty. He's different than schoolboy. Yeah.
Here. Pass me a piece of cheese. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me. That was good, wasn't it? I thought you enjoyed that.
I really did enjoy that.
It's a weekend. I gotta finish up my.
I thought today was Thursday.
No, ma'am. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, never mind.
Tomorrow's Friday, isn't it? I don't know, maybe it is Friday. It's the 19th or the 18th.
19th.
Okay, then it's Friday.
It's Friday.
I want to go to the dollar store and get you some colored pencils. And I want to go down one over by Walmart. Everything's for $1. And that's where I got them the last time. I got a really big, I think I had like
What's that? What looking for what?
some colored pencils.
Okay.
And I think I got like 18 of them there the last time. It's either 12 or 18 of them for $1. My granddaughter enjoyed them so much the last 2 years she was here, she used most of them up except those few that I got. She got to using them instead of the box of crayons I got her. But she took the box of crayons home with her. I had told her, I said, I got these so when you're here you'll have, you know, you can color in the books that she loves to color and draw. And lo and behold, she took the colored crayons home with her, but she may have took those pencils because I don't see how she could have used them all up. But I know she was drawing with them. And I used them to make my patterns. See, I got my bird all dead. I had to use green because the purple I was using didn't show up well enough against the black. Now, of course, this is much bigger. Like this here is the widest roll right there, and I got that's called the anchor roll or the base roll of the earring. And as you can see, this is how wide it'll actually be. See, this is those 2 rows right there.
Okay.
And so that's all the wider the earring will be. But on this, it's bigger so you can see what you're doing.
Okay.
But I thought he turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
This is all white, of course. And I messed up, and I put some green in and messed up.
Yeah, I could have said back a little bit there. Head doesn't go to a point like that.
It does in the picture. And that's rounded, and it'll be rounded as a bead. In this picture, it's a point, but on here, it'll be rounded. Because you're working with a bead. This is just a diagram. This is flat. as opposed to curve like a bee does. But his head won't be pointed on the bees. I'll just give you a picture. You gotta understand how these graphs work with bees. They look like they're coming from points, but they don't because you're working with a round object here. But on the paper, it's a flat object. It's different. What do you think you're doing? Angel.
I'm sorry, is this breakfast or lunch? Okay.
The Magic Jack customer you have called is unavailable to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
This is Clay Douglas. You called during my show. I don't take calls like that during the day, during my show. You want to call me back? Let me know. Call.
Magic Jack, that phone thing is a button on your computer.
Yeah.
killed everybody. Somebody threw up over here. Shit line. It's shit. Nice food. You're going out for it all. And there's another one missing. And it's
Bandage right here, baby.
yeah, we're gonna go out. Come on.
Come on. Try that, baby. Come on. Get it all sealed off.
Yeah, come on, guys. I just put you out. You haven't been out here long enough to go now. Come on, out.
Come on. Come on, boys. Come on back out.
Out. Shoot through. Gotta clean up that plate. Come on.
Get back.